Hi everyone, in this video we're gonna focus on trauma. Have you ever hesitated before speaking, not because you didn't know what to say, but because you were afraid of how your voice might be judged? Have you ever felt invisible in a conversation, ignored because of your accent, your choice of words, or the way you express yourself? That lasting discomfort, that fear of being silenced, is not just a passing feeling, it's a form of trauma. Trauma isn't always about sudden life-altering events. Sometimes it builds up over time through repeated experiences of exclusion, embarrassment, or discrimination, especially in the way we use language. Trauma happens when we go through something that overwhelms our ability to cope. It's not just about what happens, it's about how it feels and how it stays with us. In the context of linguistic racism, trauma often comes from being told directly or indirectly that the way you speak is wrong or below standard. This could happen through being mocked for an accent, being corrected harshly in class, or simply sensing that your voice carries less weight because it doesn't match dominant linguistic norms. Trauma in this situation is not just one moment. It's the repeated experiences of being excluded, judged, or constantly feeling like you don't belong. Over time, these experiences don't just affect how we speak, they affect how we see ourselves. Let's think about what this actually looks like in real life. Imagine a student who moves to a new country and speaks English fluently, but with an accent. Every time they answer in class, their peers smirk, or a teacher corrects them, not because they were unclear, but because they didn't sound like a native speaker. At first, they keep speaking, but over time, they start hesitating. They stop raising their hand, even when they know the answer. They second-guess every word, afraid that their voice itself is a mistake. As shown in this story, trauma doesn't just stay in the past. It lives in our body and mind, shaping the way we think, feel, and react to the world. Because linguistic trauma is built over time, it can be harder to recognize, but it often shows up in everyday moments. For example, feeling anxious before speaking, even when you know the answer. Avoiding participation in discussions for fear of being corrected or mocked. Doubting your abilities even when you are just as skilled as others. Feeling exhausted from constantly trying to sound right rather than just expressing yourself naturally. The good news is healing is possible, but it doesn't mean forgetting what happened or fixing the way we speak. It means recognizing the ways trauma has shaped our experiences and reclaiming our right to communicate with confidence. Healing begins with awareness. Understanding that these experiences are not just personal struggles, but part of a larger system of linguistic racism. It continues when we create spaces where all voices are valued, not just those that fit into dominant language norms. And most importantly, healing is about reclaiming ownership of our voices. Trauma doesn't just disappear. It lingers in our bodies, in our voices, and in the way we engage with the world. But trauma is not just an individual experience. It's shaped by the systems we live in, including linguistic racism. Many of us carry the weight of being judged for how we speak, of feeling silenced, or of constantly having to prove our right to belong. But healing from trauma isn't about erasing those experiences. It's about understanding them, reclaiming our voices, and creating spaces where no one has to fear speaking up. Recognizing trauma is the first step. Challenging the structures that create it is next. Together, we can build learning spaces where language is not a barrier, but a bridge, where all voices are valued, no matter how they sound.